everyone. Welcome to a nice little interview. It's something a little different. I'm here with Corina Boettger.
Hi.
They are the VA for Paimons English Voice and Genshin Impact. I'm sure most of you already are aware of them. And all that they do for the community, I see them pop up a lot. Even before I followed them, I saw them on my For You page on TikTok. I saw them on YouTube and Twitch. You can get all their socials. They're there on screen. I suggest you go check them out. I'm just going to be asking them a few questions today to, get to know them a little better because I think they're pretty interesting.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, so I'm just going to start off with, how long have you been a VA?
Technically, for over 20 years, my first voice acting job was when I was 8 years old. My first acting job ever was theater, and that was also 8 years old. But after that, I did a promo for a video game. I don't remember what the video game was called. It was over 20 years ago. Forgive me. But I remember, it was a promo for a video game. So I'm not actually in that video game. I just did like a little commercial spot for it, I guess. And I think it was for some sort of video game con. My goodness, Birdie, what are you doing, crazy bird?
Flashback to when I first called Corina.
I'm gonna warn you first. I do have my bird with me. My boyfriend's at work. So if you hear a high-pitched squeal, I'm sorry. Okay. She fell on me.
Oh.
They're so graceful. Yeah. That was my first voice acting job ever.
What first got you into voice acting, or how were you first introduced?
So, I mean, definitely through that job, but I guess, like, more recently, it was through anime. Yeah, as I said, I started out in theater, when I was 8 years old, and then I did that one voice acting job. And then for the rest of my career, it's filled with a whole bunch of theater and on-camera stuff, like Aquila and the Bee, and then I was a guest star on My Name is Earl, and Glee and Shameless, Glee and Shameless, I was a co-star, and Desperate Housewives and stuff. And then, around 2015, because I'd constantly been told, you really need to get into voiceover. Your voice is so great and interesting and stuff like that. And you know how to act, because that's the most important part of voice acting, is the acting part. But I was like, I don't even know how to get into it, though. I'm an on-camera actor. What do I do? Because there is different ways that it's all acting. Theater, on-camera voice acting is all acting, but there are different ways that you kind of get your foot in the door. Around 2015, I was like, seriously, how do I do this? How do I get started? And it was actually my friend Jeremy Bloom, who is the son of Steve Bloom, who was like, oh, go and take these classes. That's the start. And that's why I keep on saying, you really want to get into voice acting, take classes, because those classes helped me not only become a better actor, but also helped me network so that I could get to know different casting directors for voice acting. I could also get to know people who could suggest where to get a proper demo done and how to get a proper demo done. Classes are where you kind of get your introduction into acting, and they also tell you how this industry is run so that you can do it properly and get your foot in the door the right way. And so yeah, my first real voice acting job, I would say, that I actually did was Love Live. I was actually like a named character in that, and a recurring character. I was on Juyuki in that. And so, but that was because I did classes at Adventures in Voice Acting, which got me in touch with Tony Oliver, who was the director for Love Live. And he basically liked what I did, and he kind of suggested to the casting director at Bang Zoom, you should look at this person. He can't get me, directors can't get you the job necessarily, but they can get you noticed. And he got me noticed. So guys, if you want to be a voice actor, take classes. Please take classes.
So yeah, that's super helpful. And where did you say you took those classes again?
Adventures in Voice Acting. They're a great place to get started. They have many beginner classes, so you can be as beginner as you want in those classes, no worries. And get started there. And there are tons of classes out there for beginners, not just Adventures in Voice Acting. There's also voicesvoicecasting.com. And then you can also look up Voice Tracks West. They're really good beginner class. And there's tons of options out there. I'm only listing a few, but there's tons.
No, yeah, that sounds really cool. I didn't know there were specific classes for voice acting. I guess it makes sense that there are.
Yeah, because I mean, the base of acting is the same. Like the bare bones of acting all starts the same. Learning how to act for theater, on camera, and voice acting. The bones of it, the same. But as you get more experience, it starts to branch off at some point because in voice acting, you only have your voice to relay what's going on in the scene versus in on camera, you have your voice, your body language, your face, and the camera's right in front of you. You don't have to work that hard to get your point across. And then in theater, it's you have your body, your face, and your voice to relay all the information, but you have to act to the 50th row.
Yeah, you have to over-exaggerate everything. You gotta use your whole body so people can actually see it.
Right, and so that's why like honestly, I say if the only option you have is a theater class, take the theater class. But eventually start looking into classes that kind of focus on the exact thing you want. I do all three, so I actually take classes for theater, for on camera, and for voiceover. I take all three because you need those specific precisions because, again, you act differently for all three, just slightly. Bare bones are the same. So, yes, take that theater class if that's all you have available to you. But when you get more experience and want to focus on just voice acting or on camera, then look for those classes that are into that, because again, it's also a different way to get into the industry. As I said, I was an on-camera actor and I was like, I don't know how to get into voice acting. It's a different world because it kind of is. There's a different way you go about it. There's a different way to make a demo for voiceover versus an on-camera demo. They're different styles entirely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What would younger you say if they saw your work now?
My younger self would be like, yes, you're finally Navi. That's what you've always wanted. So I say that because it's funny how people always compare Paimon to Navi from Ocarina of Time. Along with the fact that everybody says that they're annoying. And I'm like, no, I disagree with you. I loved Navi as a kid. I still love Navi now. I think they're amazing. I don't find them annoying at all. Maybe it's a high-pitched thing. I'm high-pitched, so I'm okay with other high-pitched people. I have a bird. At that point, you don't think anything is annoying because you have a bird. Right, Zulu? But so because when I was a kid and I was, I was a kid in the time where voiceover in a video game, if it did exist, it was very minor. And I'm sorry, but even if you find Navi annoying, Navi is iconic, and it's for what, 4 lines?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, look out. Hello, all of those things, those times. I want to be iconic for 4 lines. That's amazing. And the fact that it even had that little bit of voice acting in it, or even because even the character Zelda in that game had just reacts, right? Yeah. It was just little tiny reacts here and there. That blew my mind. That blew my mind as a kid because, again, back in that day, it was like, they're speaking to me in a game. Yeah. What? And especially as somebody with learning disabilities, finally getting into a world where you have the option to not only read but also listen to it, because I always have captions on, and I like hearing it at the same time. It helps me understand having both. I don't know why.
It helps me as well.
Yeah, it helps me for both. So I like having closed captions and having the voiceover. I do, and I have that on all the time. And so finally getting into a place where we had more accessibility for those that do have trouble reading, but also have trouble understanding, so that way you can have both. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my, and there was just 4 lines and I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved Navi. I was like, this is the best game ever. It's starting to have voice acting. And it was just like the little bit that it had. But then, like, you know, it grew on from there. Eventually, we got to the point where, like, I started playing Perfect Dark eventually. And I was like, this is fully voice acted? This Nintendo 64 game is fully voice acted? No way! It blew my mind. And so, when I walked into the studio for Genshin Impact, I'm sorry, this is a long story.
No, it's okay.
When I walked into the studio for Genshin Impact for the first time, the words they told me from MiHoYo and from the director was, so basically you're like the Navi of this world. And I was like, say no more. Say no more. Or yes. Yes! Are you kidding me? That's all I've ever friggin' wanted. That's all I've ever... By the way, can I curse? I should have asked that at the beginning.
Oh, no, you can.
Okay, that's all I ever fucking wanted was to be Navi. And, like, as a kid, I was like, I want to be Navi. That's all I want to be. And I get to be Navi now? Yes. That's that. Like, my 5-year-old self is crying in happiness, all happiness.
Dude, that's actually so cool that they specifically said that.
Yeah, it was the perfect sentence to ever say to me.
What projects are you most proud of being on?
This one being one of them, mostly just because not only of the, like, there's so much, there's so much in it, and so I feel like I really get to spend, like, I mean, this character is literally the character that I've ever, like, voiced with the most lines ever that I've ever voiced. I don't know if that made sense. That was a sentence.
It was a lot of voice lines. It's the most.
It's the most I've ever had. So, of course, like, I'm very proud of this game, and we're continuing to work on it now. And then also, another few of them that I'm really, really proud of my work in are the Somnium Files. Funny enough, like, little tidbit, the director from the Somnium Files is the same director that works on Genshin Impact.
Oh?
Yep. And if you haven't played the Somnium Files, please go do. It definitely shows you a different side of my acting because Paimon is happy-go-lucky all the time versus the Somnium Files is really dark and scary and there's death involved. So it's a complete 180 of my work. And you know, in the Somnium Files, when I played Mizuki, I had to go through a lot. Like, it's always fun to play the happy-go-lucky characters because then you're like, oh, good, it's light. I can be happy.
Yeah.
I can just be happy. I like, and have a good time. But it's also fun to play the dark stuff and get to play with a lot of different emotions and really feel them as well. And in the Somnium Files, I got to do that. I had to cry in every single session that I went in for the Somnium Files, because my character goes through a lot in that game, and also the game is crazy. Like, the storyline is nuts. It's a murder mystery, just in case you're wondering, and you have to solve the case. And Mizuki is the little girl who your character kind of semi-adopts, or, well, gets stuck with mostly because her parents are bad parents and they thrust her upon you. And so, but the game is really good, and it also does have funny moments in it. It's a very, like, Uchikoshi in Japan wrote it, and he's a genius. And it's very good at being serious when it needs to be serious and being funny when it needs to be funny. It's not, and it doesn't feel like it's overdone when it is being funny, at least to me anyway. But yeah, the Somnium Files is definitely one project that I'm really proud of. And then the other two that I will mention is Somali and the Forest Spirit. Another situation where it was actually, like, Somali is just a cute little 7-year-old who's happy-go-lucky all the time, except, you know, when she's not.
Yeah.
So, but the anime is so cute and adorable, and it will make you cry. And then Dino Girl Gauko would be the next one that I would be really proud of. Again, I'm playing a little girl in that as well, but that little girl, when she gets mad, she turns into a dinosaur.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
It's on Netflix. It's called Dino Girl Galco. The story, it's a very cute story. And also, even my adult friends love the show. It's really funny.
I'm probably going to drag my girlfriend to watch that with me after this.
Yes, do it. You both are going to love it. It's so cute. It's so cute. Also, Johnny Young Bosch plays the character that my character is in love with, which just makes sense.
It does.
He plays all the heartthrobs, so, you know. But yeah, I identify with that character so much because I'm like, when I get angry, there's no holding back and it's scary. And I'm like, yes, I turn into dinosaur when I'm mad, just like this character. Perfect. But that was another time where I got to really play with my voice because when I also voice the parts where she turns into a dinosaur, and I get to use a really deep growly version of my voice that I don't normally get to use.
Ooh, nice. This might be like a deeper voice that might be your most difficult, but what is your most difficult voice acting gig that you've gotten?
Most difficult voice acting gig that I've gotten. It probably actually would be Dino Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Specifically because of, not only just because of using the voice differently, but also the dramatic changes that you have to do when you're switching from a little girl to a dinosaur.
Yeah.
because it's funny, in that show, it's almost like it's a split personality from the main character. They give them different names. Naoko is the name of the little girl, but when she changes into the dinosaur, she's called Galco.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even like, it's kind of the same person, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
Like there's not only a change in the voice when she turns into a dinosaur, there's also just a change in the mannerisms. I would say Naoko actually can pretty much deal with a lot of things, except when she gets overly mad and can't control her emotions anymore. Mm-hmm. That's when you see this other side to her that's way more snarky. Even there's a part where I stay as the dinosaur for quite a bit. And yeah, like the dinosaur version of her is snarky and does not have any patience or anything.
Man. Okay. What is your highest voice and your lowest voice?
I did not warm up today. Hold on.
It's okay.
So, my highest voice is all the way up here. Yes, Bird. Thank you. And Zulu liked to join in.
Okay.
She likes to match pitches. I'm sorry.
No, it's really cute. That's adorable.
And then, my lowest voice would be down here, and this is the voice I use for Dino Girl Galco.
Okay, are there any roles that you could have gotten, but you didn't take it? And if so, did you regret not taking that part? I'm so sorry, everybody, but this interview took a little over an hour to record, and even cutting out as much space as possible, I could not condense it all down into one video. I have really bad upload speed, so it takes me about 7 to 8 hours just to upload one 10-minute video. And if I tried uploading a video that was an hour long, it'd probably take me a whole day, and then if my internet went out, I'd have to restart it. So it's just way easier for me to split it up into 2 parts. Thank you to Ash, JJ, A-Kits, Tricksta, Swerve, Mason, Essence, Teacup, Noah, Silver, Bleach, Evie, Piggy, Mido, Abby, Mihoy, Spade, One Guy, Nova, Ice, Convid, Pie, Bumble, Arrow, and Inspirational Pug for boosting my Discord server. You can go join over at discord.gg/rageit. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.